Hey, what is up? It's Jim. I'm back with another Tiller tip. And this week we're talking about talents. Actually, scratch that, not just this week. The next four Tiller tips are going to be about this same topic. And it's not talents like you might hear it or know it to be, the skills, the abilities, the gifts that we have. No, what I'm talking about is out of the parable of the talents. The talent was a monetary unit back in the day. I love this parable. It's one of my top two favorite parables. I'm allowed to have two favorite parables. Like I checked, it's not a big deal, but this one I've been talking about a ton lately. Like it has been such a topic of conversation, and it's come up naturally in coaching. And every time, I share the parable with someone and then I begin to dissect it and try to make it applicable to them. And I always will say this statement: I feel like this parable has so much material in it that I could do a full four-week sermon series on just this one parable. Now, that's what we're going to do. It's time for me to prove that I can do that. I'm not going to do a full 35 or 40 minutes. I'm going to try to keep these brief. In fact, I think I'm only going to read the whole parable this once, and then the rest of the time we'll just synopsisize it. Is that a word? I don't know, but I like inventing words. So, let's jump in. Let's dig into this. This is Matthew 25, verses 14 through 30. For it will be like a man going on a journey, who called his servants and entrusted to them his property. To one he gave 5 talents, to another 2, to another 1, to each according to his ability. Then he went away. He who had received the 5 talents went at once and traded with them, and he made 5 talents more. And also he who had the 2 talents made 2 talents more. But he who had received the 1 talent went and dug in the ground and hid his master's money. Now, after a long time, the master of those servants came and settled accounts with them. And he who had received the 5 talents came forward, bringing 5 talents more, saying, Master, you delivered to me 5 talents. Here I have made 5 talents more. His master said to him, Well done, good and faithful servant. You've done well with a little. I will set you over much. Enter into the joy of your master. And he also who had the 2 talents came forward, saying, Master, you delivered to me 2 talents. Here I have made 2 talents more. His master said to him, Well done, good and faithful servant. You've done well with a little. I will set you over much. Enter into the joy of your master. He also who had received the 1 talent came forward, saying, Master, I knew you to be a hard man, reaping where you did not sow, and gathering where you scattered no seed. So I was afraid, and I went and hid your talent in the ground. Here you have what is yours. But his master answered him, You wicked and slothful servant. You knew that I reap where I have not sown, and gathered where I scattered no seed? Then you ought to have invested my money with the bankers, and at my coming I should have received what was my own with interest. So take the talent from him and give it to him who has the 10 talents. For to everyone who has will more be given, and he will have an abundance. But from the one who has not, even what he has will be taken away. And cast the worthless servant into the outer darkness. In that place there will be weeping and gnashing of teeth. Okay, this parable, oh gosh, it gets me. It's so good. First of all, I had no idea there was banks back then. Like, how wild is that? That's cool. Like, Bank of America, no, not Bank of America, maybe PNC, I don't know, but like, that's cool. I honestly didn't know that. But yeah, this parable can go in so many different ways, and the way that I want to take it this time is I'm really emphatic about this. Like I really feel passionate about this. Did you know that you're a servant? That's your job. Like that is the role that your master has given you. Now, servant, not slave. There's a big difference between the two, and I'm not trying to touch that, but being a servant, especially to a good master, and our master, thankfully, is the most loving, kind, and benevolent. He really cares about us. He is sacrificial for us. It's a beautiful thing. Like, it is a joy to serve this master. Okay, I hope you know that. Like, if I could do or say anything to like get you to really own that, really believe that, I am a servant. Not only am I a servant, I'm a servant of the best master in the universe. That's incredible. Really, full stop. We could end there and it'd just be like, yeah, that's good stuff right there, Jim. I appreciate that. Here's where I want to take it a step further. If you're going to be a good servant, I think it's important to know what the job description of being a good servant is. And I could overcomplicate it. I could give you, all kinds of bullet points, but really I can boil it down to one very simple, very short. It's a 3-letter word, probably one of your first words that you ever said in your life. The word is yes. 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 Like, when our master asks us to do something, our answer should unequivocally be yes. That's so important. I have not done a great job of that in my life always, but I have learned to, and it has been beautiful. There's a few angles to this that I just think is like maybe really important before we get too carried away on this yes. Knowing your master's voice and being able to discern what he's telling you, what he's asking you, so that you can say yes is probably really important. And I just believe it's actually challenging in today's day and age to get to know God's voice. There's a lot of noise. There's a lot of distraction, probably a lot more noise and distraction than ever. We just keep piling on with noise and distraction. And that's unfortunate because hearing our master's voice is important. And I just think it takes silence. It takes discipline and it takes silence. Just like the prophet Elijah encountered, he was seeking the Lord and trying to hear from him, and all of these crazy things were happening. There was an earthquake, there was this massive fire, there was this huge wind, earth, wind, and fire. Like, all of this was happening, and he couldn't hear God in any of it. It wasn't until the silence that he could hear God's still small voice. I think God doesn't shout at us. Our master is not yelling. He hardly ever breaks through like that. I just don't think that's in his character. He just consistently and constantly is feeding us with him and asking us to do things and to cut out the silence. Maybe that's solitude, maybe it's meditation, obviously prayer. Whatever we can do to learn our master's voice, it's really important. I love duck prayer. We talked about that several Tiller tips ago. That's one of the places where I hear the master's voice, and I just have to have the courage to share whatever he's telling me, to say yes to him in that moment. A lot of times it's like, share the parable of the talents. Okay, yes, like this, that's great. We can fill our time that way. That's awesome. So that's one angle. The other angle is, I get it. It takes a lot of courage to say yes. Like, yes is a hard thing to say, actually. If someone's offering you like courtside Nuggets tickets, I encourage you to say yes to that. Like, sweet goodness, that's a good time, a real great hang. But often a yes feels like it costs us, and we aren't sure about that. This master who loves us and is kind and benevolent, who asks us to say yes, having the courage to do so, I think pays off every single time. Now, I have not always said yes to my master. In fact, I felt like in my story that I share with people at the beginning of every coaching relationship, I share about how God was poking at me that I should go into ministry. But that was scary. That was like, no, that's too complicated. There's no way. Look at the complicated life you've already given me. You've given me a sick wife. You've given me all this other responsibility. Like, there's just no way I would give God the Heisman stiff arm. I'm just not going to do it. And finally, I eventually, thankfully, had the courage to say yes. And there's been a ton of things along the line that I feel like my master has asked me to say yes to. And it's progressively gotten easier. I've learned to trust him more, and I've learned to not fight him. Starting Tiller coaching was an example of that. Like, it was nuts. Like, God's like, hey, Tiller coaching, that's what you're going to do. I'm like, okay, cool, I like that. And then it was the expectation gap is what you're going to be coaching. I'm like, I've never heard of the expectation gap. That's awesome. And then he drops the bomb, you're not going to charge anyone. I'm like, okay, that seems weird, but yeah, okay, yes, I'll go over there and do that. If your master asks you to do something, go over here and do this. Yes. Okay, now go over there and do that. Yes. Have the courage. Also know your master's voice. I promise you, this is the biggest deal in the world. I love it so much, and I've gone longer than I wanted to. Carlos is going to be disappointed in me because he's really good at short tiller tips. But all of this is too important. So please say yes. Be a good and faithful servant. There's a lot on the line, and we will talk more about that next time. All right. Please share this with people. This sermon series, Tiller Tip series, is going to be really great. So I appreciate you guys checking this out. All right. I'll see you next time.